In this video, I'm going to be working in InDesign CS6, showing you the new page tool and liquid page rules in the program. So first of all, I've got a document open. This was actually a presentation I made. It's letter size paper sized images or page layouts that I've created, and I had no page layout, liquid page layout started. I actually created this in CS5. So what I'm going to do first is go to the page tool and show you what that does. Shift and P jumps you to that tool. It's a really neat new tool, kind of like the artboard tool in Adobe Illustrator CS6, and you can click and drag this tool and it will resize your page. In order for it to resize, you actually have to hold down the Alt or Option key, and you can resize your page, and you'll notice the size changes right up here in your control panel, right up here at the top. So now I have a custom page size. I'm just going to undo that and go back to the original page size I had, which was letter. And you can also click on portrait or landscape right here. So if I'm looking at this, let's say on an iPad or an Android or iPhone or whatever, and I flip the phone or I flip the tablet to the side, you'll see it change, and this is nice because I get an overview of what this page would look like if I was looking at it on one of those devices. So as you see here on my particular design, it's kicking my image off of the screen, so it's not going to be visible, and some of the words are kicked off as well. So I don't really want that. I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to go back to the original page layout, which was landscape, and I'm going to change that or adjust that with the little liquid page rules. So I'm just going to quickly go through a few of these, or the 4 of these, and show you the control by master last. First of all, scale. Scale basically will scale all of your images on the page. So that might be fitting for what you want to do. It's not really a super great design choice, but it might work for the page layout that you do. It might be all you need for everything to fit on the page. It doesn't allow anything to kick off the page because everything scales down. So it's a nice, neat, quick fix for your images. The second one is recenter. Actually, let me undo that and go back to the original layout, which was that. Let me go down to recenter now, and I'll click on the portrait mode, and you see it doesn't really scale anything at all. It just keeps it all in the center of the page. In fact, if I was to make this whole page bigger or smaller, you'll see it's keeping everything centered. And if I hold down Alt, it would snap, or not snap, back to place. It would keep that page size that I wanted to change it to. But I don't really want that one because I'm losing some of the information aside. That might work for your layout, but it doesn't really work for mine. The next one down is object based, which is really neat. It's really more customizable, and you can really work much more thoroughly in creating your designs with this. First of all, you'll see a few icons that are kind of new. They're very new. First of all, you see these little springs. That's showing that this particular thing I have selected, which is a text block, will be liquid, so it will adjust bigger and smaller. So you see that that text box grows and shrinks as I move the page. If you click these little dots, these little white dots, excuse me, I'm sorry about that. You'll see there's 2 of them. There's one on the top, one on the bottom of each side, or one to the right, one to the left each side. If you click the inside one, you'll see these little lock buttons appear. Or if you click right on the spring, it also changes it to a lock button. And that unlocks that text box, so now the text box does not resize at all, vertically or horizontally. So you may want to keep your text box or your image where it is, and you may want to lock it either vertically or horizontally or both. So now I'm just allowing it to scale vertically, not horizontally. So there you go. And if I click on my image, I can do the same thing with it. I can lock it in one direction and keep it liquid in another. You also see these little dots. They usually start off as clear dots on all 4 corners to the outside, or all 4 edges to the outside. If I zoom into those, you see those, and if I click on one, that's basically linking or pinning that to the side of your document. And InDesign does have some nice hover over balloon help, by the way, so you can read what it's doing. So now I'm locking it to the bottom. I'm locking this photograph to the bottom and to the side. And I can do the same with my image. Actually, it's already locked to the top and to this side, so I can leave it locked there, or I can let it kind of flow all the way around the image. So again, I'm going to click on portrait and look at what that does. Portrait, as far as portrait is concerned, and I'll click it horizontal, goes back to horizontal mode. And if I want to lock it to the top, you see this is portrait now, this is landscape, portrait, landscape. So you see that change. Now I should have made a text wrap alongside my image. That would push everything out to the side. Of course, that would have been better. But this is just for demo, so you get the idea of what that does. Now the next one down is really a nice one to use as well. It's a new feature as well as all of this is. It's a guide-based liquid page layout. So what you can do, go to the page tool and drag out a guide. Now typically guides have been used to measure your text blocks and measure your text, measure your spacing and everything like that. You can drag down from the horizontal or the top ruler and make a horizontal guide, and you can drag from the left ruler and make a vertical guide. Now these guides are a little different than your typical guides. If you go to your regular selection tool, you can make a regular guide, and you'll see that the regular guides are solid where the liquid guides are dotted. And if you click on a regular guide, and you'll see this little icon up here, click on that little icon, you see that it changes to a liquid guide, and if you click it again, it'll change back to a regular guide. If you hit delete on your keyboard with it selected, it'll just delete it. So you can change these back and forth from liquid to regular guides. I'm going to delete that one, and I'm just going to drag this liquid guide through the text only. It's not touching my image down here at the bottom at all. And so with a horizontal guide, this is what is going to happen. Anything that it's touching will move vertically but not horizontally. So it moves vertically but not horizontally. Horizontal guides lock an object in place horizontally. So it's kind of like pinning it, like I just showed you, but it's a guide, so it's locking that in place. If I drag out a vertical guide, I can lock this vertically, but it won't move. Excuse me, it will move vertically, but not horizontally. So you see that. Excuse me, I said that backwards. You will move horizontally, but not vertically. Little confusing, so practice with this one. This might work really well for your particular design, depending on what you want it to do. Now, it might do something like that as well, where it's scaling your image, and I don't really want that to happen, so I'm going to undo that. I don't really want that vertical guide there. That's really not going to help me. That's not really what I'm going for on this design. So you got to go back to your selection tool and click it and hit delete, and I'll make that vertical guide on the image actually, and I'll just make that a guide, and let's try that with the page tool shifted to portrait mode. You see it kicks out to the side. Really don't want that to happen, so I might have to use a combination of things for that to work for the guide-based system. So really for mine, object-based worked the best for this particular page layout. So you got to just kind of trial and error, and you'll see what works best for your particular layout. So I'll go back to guide-based, and actually if you want to try the last one out, we'll do that one. First of all, if you have a guide-based and you have a guide showing, you might not be able to see the controlled by master page. That sometimes has disappeared on me or grayed out. But if you go to controlled by master, what you're basically saying is whatever master page you have selected, and here I have a B master, so it's my master page B. If I go to that master page B just by double clicking it in the page panel or going down to this navigation bar down at the bottom, I can go to B master. I can go to liquid page rule with my page tool selected, and I can choose one of these 4 page rules here, and it's going to apply to every page that I have a B master on. So that might be a nice quick fix for all of your pages if that is the case, if you want that. Now I think for my page that I had created here, this particular object-based rule worked the best for this particular page. So I just switched that back to the object-based rule. Now I'd have to do that on every page, so that's going to be a little bit more tedious than choosing, say, a scale page rule. Let me show you one more thing before I end this, or two more things. I'm going to show you a couple more things before I end this. First of all, if I go to if I go to Window Interactive Liquid Layout, you have the same menu right here, and that's basically the basic same settings. And you see when you click on each item, you can change the different settings by using these check boxes. So that might make more sense to you, might help you out, rather than using these visual icons and methods there. So now for this to work, I'm going to make this actually a alternate layout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little icon right beside my page size, and you probably have iPad or iPhone selected, and you can click this little drop down menu and choose create alternate layout. It automatically detects whether you have a horizontal or vertical layout, and it's going to make the new layout the opposite. So right now I have a horizontal layout, it's making a vertical layout, automatically detected that, and it's automatically detecting to make the orientation vertical. I'm going to leave everything as existing, preserve existing. If you want to just do all this in one click, you can do all this in one click by choosing Scale, Recenter, Guide Base, or Object Base right here. Don't know how Object Base would work because you'd have to set up those objects, but that might work for you. Click OK, and it's going to think for a few seconds, especially if you have a big document, and it's going to make an alternate layout. And you'll see that alternate layout to the side. Now to visually look at this side by side, I'm going to click on this little split view icon in the bottom of my window, and it's going to give me a split view, and I'm going to go to the page. I'll just do the page on the left, and I'm going to double click on page 52, and you'll see that that's set up just like I had visualized it earlier. So it's giving me the horizontal and vertical tablet or phone orientations. And you see in this alternate page layout that I have to the left here, you'll see little link icons. What that is doing, what that is saying is linking to the original design, which I have to the left. So let's say I change the wording around. I'm going to change this to packaging, and I come over here and you'll see that it got rid of that link icon, but it has a little exclamation mark and nice balloon help information there. It says click it and it will update. So click on that and you see it updates to whatever you had changed it to. So it's really nice and easy to update your liquid page layouts as well as to create them.